And we're back. Hall here with another Hall of Code lesson. Let's look at CSS fonts. We use the font family to specify the font of a text that will be used inside of your website. Now there are 5 generic font families, but we're going to focus primarily on the most popular, and that is sans serif and serif fonts. Now, serif fonts have a decorative stroke or little feet on the edges, and sans serif do not have any stroke or little feet on the edges. That's how you tell the difference. Now the most popular serif fonts will be Times New Roman, Georgia. The most popular sans serif fonts will be Arial and Verdana. Now, whenever you're putting your website together and you're specifying the fonts you want to use, you want to also make sure that you have fallback fonts, just in case the browser you are using does not have the fonts that you want. So whenever you are putting your fonts inside of your CSS, you want to add at least 2 fonts and put a comma in between each of the alternate fonts. So just in case the browser doesn't have that first font, it'll go to the second font. And so let's take a look at how it will look in a browser and in our code editor. So right here we have an index and a style.css. We're going to change our title to CSS fonts, and I'm going to add the link, and we're going to call this style.css. So now I have the link tag inside of my head section of my HTML. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give it an H1, and we're going to call this Hall of Code. And let me go live. There we go. Okay, and again, sometimes if you click go live, you might see port 5000. What I'll do is just click go live again, and it'll show up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those tabs. Now you see my H1 right here. Also, you also see the title on the tab. All right, so I'm going to add a paragraph, and I'm just going to give it some dummy text by typing lorem, and I'm going to say 60. So we got 60 words of dummy text. So we have an H1 and we have a paragraph tag. All right, let's go ahead and style this now, and we're going to style the P. We're going to style the paragraph, and we're going to say font family with a colon, and we're going to go Times New Roman and then a comma, and I'm going to say Georgia. All right, now right here you may not notice any difference in the font because sometimes the fonts are defaulted to a serif font. All right, but we're going to change the H1, and we're going to give that H1 a font, and we're going to say Arial or Verdana. All right, and as you can see now, this H1 doesn't have the stroke or the little feet attached. It's more of a sans serif font, and it's more rounded. So you can tell the difference between the type of fonts that you are using here. All right. Now, if you don't want to use any of the standard fonts in HTML, you can use Google Fonts. Google Fonts are free to use and have more than 1,000 fonts to choose from. Just add a special style sheet link in the head section and then refer to that font in the CSS. Now here are some of the most popular Google fonts that most web developers use. So let's take a look at how we use Google Fonts. I'm going to go to a new tab and type fonts and .google.com, and here I am going to select type Poppins. All right, so here we go. We got Poppins. I'm gonna make this big. And here's what your fonts look like. This is a Poppins font. Let's try a different font. Let's draw Roberto. And this is what your Roberto font looks like. There are different types of font weights. And sometimes you might want to select a regular 400 font. That's usually the most defaulted font is the regular 400. So if you are looking to style a font, you want to probably go with regular 400. But in this case, I'm going to click Get Font, and from here, I'm going to click Get Embed Code. All right, so now I have a link up here. There are actually 3 different links. And then I have some CSS down here. All right, and you can see Roberto is a sans serif font. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this code right here. And what I'm going to do is going to go back to my HTML, and I'm going to paste this font right underneath my CSS link. And then I'm gonna go back to style.css, and I am going to go back to this font family, and I'm just gonna copy this font right here, Roberto. All right, so we'll do the paragraph. All right, and now you can see the font changes. Looks different, and we'll add that same font to the H1, and now the font looks a little bit different. And so now this is how you style fonts. You can either style them with the web-safe fonts or through Google Fonts.